All right, while we set up the stage for the next session, where we have 3 experts coming in, all about payments and travel, I also have to thank you again, because this is the 3rd and the last day of the ITB Berlin Convention 2025, and for me it was an absolute blast spending the time with you guys. I'm heartbroken, because this is my last session with you guys, so I'm going to miss you terribly the next weeks, right? So I hope I see you back next year again, and we connect throughout the year, and we just stay in contact, and, you know, just leverage that we had the opportunity to connect here. Right. Again, I have to thank our track sponsor, checkout.com. I don't have to, I want to. I appreciate the support. And they are part of the next session. So they came up with the idea, and I think it's brilliant. They said, let's talk with actual partners of ours, right? And let's have a dialogue about it instead of giving you a front keynote, just explaining to you in one line how it works. So I look forward to this dynamic format. And please make sure to also use the hashtag ITB Berlin Convention when you post anything, so we can find it back later, because it's so nice in the next weeks to go through all the content that was shared from all of you on the social media channels. And without any further ado, because again, we are always short for time, we want to maximize every second we have here, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome on stage the Director of Market Development at Mastercard, Diego Colmenar Ortega. Please come on stage. And then after that, we have his 2 peers for joining, and you'll have a great session. I look forward to it. Thank you so much.
I thought I was missing.
Can I have my? No, I'm sorry.
I thought I was missing something. Yeah.
No, you see, we have to do this again, but gladly, we're not at the big stage, you know, because there you have like a director in the back, and she would be killing me now. So I hope you don't kill me. So let's do this again. So you see, we have 3 powerhouses here from the realm of payments, so they know all about it, and they will discuss what's next in that space. We have, as I said, Diego Colmenar Ortega from Mastercard, and then we have Roland Cameras from checkout.com. He's the issuing head of commercial. Thank you for being here, and I see you representing nicely. Wonderful. And then we have the director of product, FinTech and Growth, the right person to be here with us, from the very famous GetYourGuide, a Berlin-based startup, which is very exciting. Eoghan Muralidharan, thank you so much for being here. And now, over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, so thank you all very much for being here in this travel payment technology section. We know it's the last day of the event, so thank you very much for bearing with us. We will try to really keep it up, but we really think it's going to be an interesting session. So my name is Diego Colmenar. As Leah said, I'm the B2B payments, part of the B2B payments team in Mastercard. Basically, I mean, as you all know, I think the reason why we are all here is because little by little we are realizing how important the payment has become in the overall travel ecosystem, in the end-to-end flow. And whenever we think about payments, I think traditionally we have had this conception or a way of thinking of payment as how consumers are paying to travel intermediaries, right? But I think it's becoming increasingly important to think about payments as an integral concept, so something that is becoming an end-to-end concept. And I think it's becoming, as we all know, more and more relevant, right? So at the end, the idea of the session today is basically to discuss about how technology is shaping this key piece in the travel ecosystem, with some focus on the journey that key partner in the travel ecosystem like GetYourGuide has done in terms of journey related to customer experience and related to payment. So to do that, I'm joined here by 2 great panelists. Arjun from, I think it goes without presentation, but part of GetYourGuide, a unique marketplace in the travel industry for unforgettable experiences, and Roland from Checkout, head of issuing. And as I said, the idea of the session today is basically to discuss how technology is shaping this key component in the travel ecosystem that is payment, that again is impacting end-to-end, right? So maybe to start the conversation, Arjun, I introduce you as a unique marketplace in the travel ecosystem, and I would like to understand what you guys are doing that makes you really unique, and maybe share some trends that you are seeing in the overall ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Thank you for having me. So GetYourGuide, for those who are not familiar with us, is a marketplace for travel experiences. We help millions of travelers connect with hundreds of thousands of activity providers around the world to unlock unforgettable experiences. And we've been in the market for more than 15 years now. What we focus on is providing a fantastic experience on both sides of the marketplace, right? So on one side, we have to help our travelers discover unforgettable experiences, narrow down, make a choice, and book those. And then on the other side, we want to help our global network of activity providers to simplify their operations, get maximum value out of the marketplace, and get traffic from around the world, right? And so on both sides, we see huge opportunities to improve the experience. And on the side of the activity providers, one of the key trends we're seeing is that in this market of activity providers, most activity providers are actually quite small. They're usually small companies, 5 people or less. And for those types of companies, we want to make sure that we provide the suite of tools and features that will help them simplify their operations, monetize effectively, and get access to that global network of travelers. And then on the traveler side, you know, the average customer on GetYourGuide is what we internally we call it the modern explorer, right? It's not your Gen Z customer. It's generally someone who's maybe slightly on the older side, 30s or 40s, usually a couple or a family with kids. And what we find is that people want to book experiences more and more over buying stuff, right? And tapping into that trend, we are able to serve that with our marketplace. And that's also where topics like payments play an important role, because we make sure that our travelers in over 100 countries are able to book in 40 plus currencies with every payment method that you can think of. And then our suppliers or activity providers can actually get paid in time. And that's sort of where payments make sure that this marketplace operates efficiently.
That's super interesting to hear, because in fact, I think we are fully aligned. I mean, and this is something that from a Mastercard point of view, for example, we see in every trend, every study that we make. I mean, that since COVID, I think there's been a change in the paradigm for traveling that is going to stay, in my view, and definitely a huge change in the mindset from travelers. Willing more and more to invest not only in security and flexibility, but also investing in enhancing their overall experience, right? So picking up on that point and enhancing the overall experience, maybe laser focusing a bit on the experience itself. I mean, can you expand a bit on what you've been doing in order to enhance this customer experience, specifically on payments or in general?
Sure, yeah. So when travelers book on GetYourGuide, the top problem that we need to solve for is helping them understand how to best understand a destination and discover what you can do in a destination, right? So the most important problem for us to solve, and we're relentlessly focused on that, is making sure we provide that discovery experience for travelers to then pick and narrow down the activities that are most interesting and most relevant to them. And so personalization using data is, of course, top of mind. We've been working in this space for years. Of course, probably everyone at ITB is now tired of hearing about AI. And at the end, we've been doing that for 10 plus years, right? So personalizing the search and discovery experience, and then going down the funnel, what customers really want is they won't come back to GetYourGuide if the product experience was great. That really doesn't matter in the end. But they will come back only if the activity itself was great, right? And so we rely on the network of activity providers to provide a high quality experience. And the way we do that is by assuming we solve the search and discovery problem, we also need to solve the on-trip problem, right? So when customers are in destination, experiencing their activities, they might face problems, and when they face problems, they should have the right support channels, or we should provide the tooling for them to do everything in self-service. For example, arranging your pickups, finding a meeting point, getting your ticket, making sure the QR codes work when you enter an activity. And then in between those two pieces, there's of course payments, where we basically focus on the 3 C's. In payments, if you're interested in payments and looking to optimize payments in your company, then it's always the same thing. It's conversion, it's cost, and it's choice. And those are the three things we invest in. So we make sure that a customer that wants to pay, if they're a legit customer, they should be able to pay. We want to do so on efficient rails, so it doesn't cost the world, right? And then we want to do it in a way that gives customers the right balance of choice and that efficiency. So you might want to offer maybe slightly more expensive payment options if it helps customers have a better experience by giving them more choice. And so balancing these three things in that order, conversion, cost, choice, I think is what's at the heart of a good payments experience.
So thanks for sharing, super interesting, and again in line with what we see all over the place. Picking up on the payment side of things, since you brought up that topic, and taking advantage that we have Roland here, which is part of Checkout, which is a company that has a unique position in the industry, I would say, right? Because knowing that they act as an issuer and as an acquirer, they have visibility on both the paying side of things, so basically customers paying travel intermediaries, but also the payouts, right? So at the end, you are helping travel intermediaries to pay to their suppliers. So I mean, being that you have this unique position, I mean, it would be interesting to hear from you, I mean, trends that you see in the industry, or to expand in that topic, right?
Yeah, thank you for having us, Diego. Appreciate it. So within travel, some of the key trends that we're seeing evolve at the moment, the adoption of the merchant of record model, so the travel intermediary becoming the responsible party from a kind of legal and financial perspective for the payment journey of the customer. And what this unlocks is, to some of Arjun's points around really kind of optimizing the checkout experience for the customer. So things that are really important there, Arjun mentioned a couple of these. We're providing the right payment methods, the right local payment methods, providing the right financing options as well, particularly in travel, which can be very big ticket items, being able to offer things like buy now, pay later, so you can split your payments and make travel more affordable and make these experiences more affordable. And then things like local currencies as well are particularly important. And as the merchant of record, you also have the ability to really focus in and hone in on cross-selling other solutions and services to your customers. You can also control the kind of fraud experience, providing a more secure payment platform for your buyers and also for the suppliers as well. And then on the payout side, as mentioned, you're providing optimized kind of payouts capabilities. And one of the kind of key, I guess, focal points of this panel, which Diego is very much involved in, is the virtual card space. Virtual cards, you may have heard a few acronyms, VCNs, VCCs. What are virtual cards? So virtual cards are essentially a digital form of card. They operate very much in the same way that a credit or debit card work, but they only exist in a digital form. So you have unique card number, the PAN, you have the CVV code, you have the expiry date. And particularly in travel, the adoption of virtual cards to drive B2B payments, so travel intermediaries paying their suppliers. It could be attractions in the case of GetYourGuide. It could be paying hotels. It could be paying airlines. There are a lot of efficiencies there that can be created by using these virtual cards. And just to kind of focus in on some of those efficiencies, the virtual card itself, it can be single-use or multi-use. So there are strong security elements to those cards because you can restrict where those cards are spent, specific kind of merchant category codes, even locking it into a specific merchant as well. Beyond security, there's the automation element as well, being able to generate a single card per booking, using APIs to generate cards, having those cards kind of embedded into booking systems of your providers. And so, yeah, security, automation, and then a very rich data set as well. So you can provide, with a card credential, you can attach a lot of information to that card. So that feeds through into reconciliation, your ability to match the booking with the payment, and there, versus things like doing a bank wire, batching together payments. There are a lot of kind of key advantage to the virtual card. And another kind of benefit for the travel intermediaries as well is the ability to generate some revenue off this payment flow, so to generate a rebate on that virtual card spend.
Yep, and thank you for sharing. I mean, I think that was a really great overview. Maybe, I mean, expanding a bit on one of the points, I think we also see from our side a huge trend in terms of merchant of record adoption. So at the end, if I need to describe, becoming merchant of record, obviously, amongst advantages and disadvantages, at the end of the day, for me, being merchant of record for a travel intermediary is basically owning the overall experience, including payments, right? And when we speak about owning the overall experience, it means customer experience, but also supplier experience, right? And it is where these kind of mechanisms, payout mechanisms, bring additional automation, bring additional benefits, also for the suppliers, right? Because let's not forget that whenever you as a travel intermediary are becoming the merchant of record, you need to keep everything in line, including the relationship with your suppliers, and obviously the payment mechanism that you use in that space may help you boost these kind of relationships, right? And maybe expanding on that, and knowing that you have an extremely complex ecosystem of suppliers on your side, would be super interesting to hear from you, Arjun, what are the main challenges or roadblocks that you are finding as a company whenever you are paying to your suppliers, right?
Yeah. So we operate with hundreds of thousands of suppliers around the world, and paying them on a monthly or bi-monthly basis can be a nightmare if you do it with bank transfers, as we do today. And so we've always been interested in looking at other options of how we can more effectively pay local operators, especially when they're small companies. They can't wait 30 days to get their cash, right? They're reliant on getting paid more frequently, and to do so in a way that's both cost efficient and operationally efficient is quite a challenge. And so some of these solutions, like virtual cards, can be very valuable in that space, where imagine you're an activity provider, and for every booking that we make, you generate a card behind the scenes, right? And then the activity provider gets paid using that card, and that can be a much more efficient flow. But it does require you to start small, start rolling it out in small pockets, and then you can scale it up over time, because ideally you want all of that to be fully embedded into your core product, right? You don't want them to have to jump to different platforms to get their payment. And so that's what we are actively thinking about. For us, at the end of the day, activity providers want to get paid reliably in the correct amounts, as frequently as possible. And the world as it's operating today with the bank transfer system is not as conducive to the small businesses that we operate with as the card networks could. Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. So again, highlighting the importance of having, a good balance, right, between the way you pay in and the way you pay out, right? So in that sense, I think we have again, a key player in the industry playing in these two spaces, right? So knowing that Checkout is acting as issuer, as an acquirer, so again, helping travel intermediaries to collect payments, but also suppliers to receive payments from travel intermediaries. Would be good to understand from you how you see this duality, right? Because at the end, obviously, those may be in some cases independent strategies within a company. So what's your view in there? Is that something that makes sense to keep them separate, or would it make sense for you to consolidate those? And what's the position for Checkout on that one?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think one of the real kind of key benefits and USPs of owning both sides of those ecosystems, the pay-in side and the payout side, is you have full visibility and control of the life cycle of the payment end to end. And Arjun was mentioning as well around the people they pay, some of the smaller suppliers that have cash flow issues, receiving payments once a month. But equally, the online travel agents, the travel intermediaries, some of them are operating with very tight margins, particularly when you think about areas like paying for flights. If you have two different providers on the acquiring side and the payout side using virtual cards, you may be pre-funding your issuer, and on the acquiring side, because travel is sometimes deemed to be higher risk because it's kind of long duration to delivery of service. Sometimes the acquirer, your payment provider, may request a reserve that they have to hold for you. So managing cash flow, working capital issues can be a huge problem, and sometimes it can be a matter of survival for some of these agencies. So being able to do it on one platform, you negate the need to have to pre-fund on the issuing side. And one of the things Checkout does is we can give clients instant access to the funds from acquiring. So as soon as that transaction has been captured on the acquiring side, we can allow those funds to be made available for the issuing leg of the transaction. And then on the issuing side, the client doesn't need to pre-fund us. And then in a world of dealing with multiple different providers, you're having one vendor across both sides of the ecosystem. It creates a lot of efficiency. Things going back to the points around reconciliation reporting, having single reports across both the pay-ins and the payout side, not having to deal with multiple vendors. So there are a lot of kind of costs and benefits, other efficiencies. And then around the integration, the technology, having single platform, single integration, we see a huge amount of demand from some of the traditional large-scale online travel agencies, and then also some of the more kind of exotic cases in the travel space as well.
Okay. That makes total sense. And again, I mean, fully aligned with, in terms of demands of what we see in the market and the needs that we see, I mean, more and more expressed by our customers. So thank you very much for sharing that. We know that we are approaching the end of the panel, and knowing that we have a kind of a mixed audience here, I think it would be good maybe, I mean, to share some, or maybe, I mean, let's imagine that, I mean, we have people here that are completely new to the payment industry and have no clue about pay-ins, orchestrations, collections, payouts. Maybe it would be good to have some final thoughts on, I mean, what would be your recommendations for that? Maybe I can start my side. I mean, knowing that, again, I mean, tying back to the initial comment on the fact that payment is complex and is an element that is impacting end-to-end. So again, pay-ins, payouts. I think it's really important to have a consolidated strategy, right? And that goes towards suppliers and customers, but also internally, right? I think whenever we think about payments, we need to have an integral view, externally and internally, and make sure that everything that we define as a company in terms of strategy for payments makes sense and brings value for all the stakeholders and all the departments within a company. Because otherwise, I mean, if we try to push the payment strategy only from a technology standpoint or from one specific department, I don't think that's going to work. But I'll let you expand on that one, guys.
Yeah, sure. If we had to leave you with I guess, a couple of key takeaways, things to think about, is thinking about your own kind of payment experience for your customers. How can you optimize on the pay-in side? Are you providing the right payment methods, the right currencies? And then with your suppliers as well, how efficient is your process for paying those suppliers? Have you thought about virtual cards? Could you potentially incentivize your providers to accept these card payments because of the efficiencies they could realize as well? So really kind of rethinking like payment optimization and performance, both on the acquiring side and the payout side as well.
Yeah, I'd just add to that as a merchant, the top thing to do is be clear about what the problem is you're trying to solve and whether your customers actually have that problem before you allow payment companies to sell you something. So all of these solutions have a very specific value and a specific use case. And it's usually not the best approach to try to find how to shoehorn a solution into your stack, but rather respond to what your customers are telling you. Talk to them, listen to them. I think that's always been good advice and continues to be good advice. Okay, so thank you very much for the insights. I hope you also find this super interesting, as interesting and as insightful as I did. So thank you very much for sharing and opening about your views on this topic. I think we are a bit over time, but if we have time for some questions on the audience, we will be happy to take it.
Thank you so much. There was such an interesting talk, so many good perspectives. I like the advice on figure out the problem first, right? Is there a mistake done often? So is there any questions, comments? It's an opportunity for you to share also your perspective or ask them as they're here with us in person. If you have a question, raise your hand. Don't be shy. No questions?
I think we had great panelists, so everything.
Yeah, you covered everything. I mean, it's a compliment to you guys. Well, tell me, guys, where can they connect with you? What do we say when they want to learn more about GetYourGuide? Where do we find you? You have a booth here?
We don't have a booth here, but download the app, book something, go do something. That will make me happier.
Right. So let's make him happy. And then, what would you say for checkout.com? I mean, thank you for sponsoring the track. We've heard a lot about you today. But then again, if we want to stay connected with you, where do we go?
Thank you. You can visit us in 5.1, booth 109, I believe. And checkout.com is our website. It's where the world checks out. So please visit us and Roland Cameras on LinkedIn. please reach out to me with any questions. But thank you very much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Wonderful. And Diego, what would you say for Mastercard?
Yeah, so we have a hall here as well. I think it's a bit far away, but still reachable. If
You have to get the
manage
steps in, guys.
to get lost. And we have a full dedication here for Mastercard. So I'm part of the B2B travel payments team, but we have people working in many areas. So we'll be happy to discuss about anything related to payments around the travel industry.
Wonderful. And then again, a no-brainer, follow them on LinkedIn. It's always valuable to connect with these speakers here from the ITB Berlin Convention as they share content, and they are connected to interesting context again. So you start digging into a very interesting world of content and comments. So thank you so much. Diego Colmenar Ortega from Mastercard. We had Roland Cameras from checkout.com and Ayun Muralidharan from GetYourGuide. Thank you so much. Yes, and this concludes our ITB travel track at the ITB Berlin Convention 2025. And I said it before, and now I'm truly heartbroken because now we separate. I'm not going to have you around for the next days. I thank you absolutely for the past days. It was really a blast for me to spend time with you guys. I thank you for being here at the third and last day at the ITB Berlin Convention, still filling the room. I love this. And you have to stay because the content coming up after the break, we continue here at 2:30 with the digital destination track, is absolutely great, right? So check out the program, look at the speaker's profile. There's so many good use cases and sessions planned until tonight, 7:30, I guess, all curated by my fantastic colleague, Dirk Rogel. So grab a coffee, connect with each other. If you haven't talked to each other yet, it's an opportunity to connect and discuss ideas and opinions. And then I wish you a wonderful reminder of the ITB Berlin Convention 2025, and I hope to see you back next year, 2026. So thank you so much.